The 1908 Chicago Cubs was the last team to bring the organization the World Series trophy. It has been a long and humiliating stretch for Cubs fans in the city of Chicago. They reached the World Series in 1945 and lost to the Detroit Tigers. Baseball fans consider that the year of the curse of the Billy Goat. There have been many other instances that have happened to the organization that fans want to point fingers at and blame them for the history of losing. For years, the Chicago Cubs have had a failing system that has affected the city of Chicago dearly. But since 2008, there has been a new face and new system running the organization. The Rickett family purchased the team and have not looked back since. They hired former president of baseball operations of the Red Sox, Theo Epstein, who was the man that led the charge for Boston to break the curse of the Bambino. What you are looking at is the systemogram for the 2016 Cubs. The stakeholders are the Rickett family, Joe Maddon, Theo Epstein, and all the companies that chose to advertise at Wrigley. The system structure is a gray box due to the fact that people know how baseball organization is structured, but do not know the ins and outs of how decision-making occurs behind the curtains. The classification is physical, living, and abstract because there are certain concepts and ideas that go into running a baseball team. The system life cycle is critical for Theo Epstein and the Chicago Cubs organization to get going on the right track. The life cycle consists of establishing a system need, develop system concept, design and develop, produce the system, deploy the system, and operate the system. When creating a life cycle, there will always be risks, such as the cost for establishing a system need. It is expensive to keep the good players on the roster. The risk for develop a concept is schedule. The strength of schedule can be harder for other teams than the Cubs. Design and develop, the risk is technical because some players may not pan out to be as good as projected, just like Starlin Castro, who was traded to the New York Yankees last year. For produce the system, the risk can be technical because certain staff members may not get along with members of the team. For deploy the system, the risk can also be technical with players getting injured, such as Kyle Schwarber, who was a critical piece in the 2015 success. Operating the system is also technical because players might not have the best off-field egos, like Aroldis Chapman, who had domestic violence issues prior to joining the Cubs. What you are looking at is a system boundary diagram for the 2016 Chicago Cubs. It is composed of 4 critical parts in the organization: the front office, clubhouse, roster, and the starting lineup. The output is wins because at the end of the day, that is what professional athletes get paid for and what the fans come to see. To get the wins, it requires the right players and coaches and the money to keep them to stay there and to build the team. The spatial arrangement for the Cubs organization is broken down into the meta system, which is the Chicago Cubs, the system, which are the starting lineup and roster, the subsystems, which are the front office, farm systems, which is the minor leagues, weightlifting, and training staff. They all work together and communicate to each other to find out what are the best options and best players for the starting lineup on each day against certain teams. The elements are composed of players and coaches who receive the wins. The 2016 Chicago Cubs have put themselves into a great position to break any of the current curses placed on the team. It has been a very long time since the organization has seen success. Last year's team was able to make it to the NLCS with a young, less experienced roster. Now they have young players stepping up and the front office making trades to win it all. Ahead of this charge is manager Joe Maddon and his ability to create a winning culture as well as manage a young ball club. This season is opposite of any Cubs history. They do not have players breaking into fights with their own teammates and crosstown rivals White Sox like ex-catcher Michael Barrett. They do not have players cheating with cork bats and steroids. There's a confidence about the team that has not been there in the past seasons. The system that Theo Epstein has created is genius. He has players from the draft playing to their full potential like Schwarber and Bryant. Traded for Jake Arrieta, who was a Cy Young winner last year. picked up Jason Hayward, John Lesser, and John Lackey, and Ben Zobrist. He had 4 players start in the 2016 All-Star Game, which means the fans like to watch the Cubs. The 2016 Chicago Cubs system is something that has been waiting for a long time, and the Cubs are excited to watch the season unfold.